Hey, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Iconic Leadership Show, where I am diving deep into the universal laws of iconic leadership, the laws that will change a woman's life forever if she doesn't just listen to the law and she doesn't just think about it and learn about it, but actually embodies each of these laws. When everyone asked me what my keys to my success are, how I was able to overcome obesity and break the chains of poverty and go from a high school dropout single mom to the alpha queen empire that I have been able to create. Everyone always asks, like, how did you do it? Like, what advice would you give me? And you guys, honestly, it always comes back to these 10 universal laws of iconic leadership, because you can chase strategy all day long, but if the strategy isn't working, it's more than likely because you have not learned self-mastery yet. So that's what these universal laws are really teaching and empowering women to really embody, right? Because when a woman rises up, embodies these universal laws, she becomes unapologetic and unstoppable. So I have a brand new book coming out. It is called Unapologetic: The 10 Universal Laws of Iconic Leadership. It literally breaks down the laws even further. It gives you the belief shifts. It even teaches you how to create or get like how to overcome your biggest problems when it comes to these areas. So if you've not yet watched any of the training videos or the videos that I've put together here in this mini series, go back and watch them, starting from one, the universal law of aligned sovereign decisions, because it all kind of stems from each other and they're all intertwined. So today we are talking about something that almost every woman says she struggles with: time. But here's the truth, ladies. Most women do not actually have a time problem. They have a leadership problem, because if you are not directing your life intentionally, your life will direct you in every which way, right? And that's exactly why so many high achieving women still feel exhausted and reactive and overwhelmed and constantly behind, never really truly feeling like they've caught up, even when we look at their to-do list or we look at their calendar and they have accomplished so much. So today we're diving into law number 7, which is what I call the universal law of sovereign direction, because vision without commanding your time will change nothing, right? You can have an idea, you can have a dream, you can have a goal, but if you do not master your time, life will just pass you by and you wake up every year thinking, what happened? Like, I don't even know how I got here. So you need to get off autopilot and get back into your driver's seat of your time and really learn how to master your time like a millionaire. So one of the biggest mistakes that so many women make is waiting to find time. Okay. Find time for themselves, find time to grow their business, find time to go to the gym, find time to feel more peace, find time for the dream. But sovereign women, iconic leaders, we don't find time. We decide what matters. And then we direct our life and our intention and our energy on those things that we want to actually do with our time. And that is a total CEO leadership move. And what it's costing women, right, is their freaking sanity. When a woman has not mastered her time, it's costing her her sanity, her health, right? She tends to be a very reacting woman, right? Always chasing her tail, always feeling like she's putting out fires, constantly feeling stressed, constantly feeling like she's not enough, not doing enough, whatever, but she's constantly reacting. Okay, she's reacting to notifications, emails, text messages, social media, everyone else's emergencies, everyone else's priorities. And eventually, women wake up emotionally drained, wondering, how am I so freaking busy, but still so disconnected from the life that I actually desire? Because busyness is not leadership. It's not sexy when a woman's like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm like, are you busy? Are you productive? Or are you just wasting like all of your time doing busy work and not really getting ahead? Right? Like, don't, like, you saying you're busy doesn't really mean jack shit for me, because busyness doesn't always equal ROI, or busyness doesn't always equal you moving the needle forward on your goals. Okay. So, uh, busyness is not leadership. Intentionality is leadership. And I remember a season in my life where I was doing everything, right? But none of it was actually feeling like like aligned with who I was designed to be, who God created me to be. I remember, right? I was feeling, a bit overwhelmed. I was in my corporate role. I was wearing three hats, right? The marketing director hat, which meant all customer relations, or all client relations. It meant marketing socially, digitally. It also meant grassroots marketing, right? Networking. I was the face of the company, and that is a full-time job. But on top of that, I started taking on the business development role, and I was a part of the triangle leadership team, and it was so much fun leading the whole of the business, not just the marketing and the sales, right? And then about 4 years into that, now I'm doing kind of two of those roles. And now my boss asked me to head up an HR department because we didn't have one. And I was like, okay, let me figure out this thing called HR first, and then we'll talk salaries and things like that. Well, guys, I ended up taking on the HR coordinator, the marketing director, and the business development leadership part of that leadership team, on top of being a wife and a mother and a spouse and a dog mom and a volunteer in my community, right? I wore so many hats, very, very similar to what you are probably wearing. I sat on 5 or 6 boards. I was highly involved in my community, giving back, constantly volunteering, all while running my kids around, taking care of myself, et cetera, et cetera. And I was very productive. Okay. But not a lot of women wearing those hats are as productive as they think, because movement does not automatically equal progress. A lot of women are busy avoiding the things that would actually change their lives. And I had to learn that lesson deeply. If it matters, then it gets scheduled. And I had to realize, or I realized during that corporate time, that if I was truly going to get all 3 roles accomplished in the 8 to 9 hours that I had at work, and then I, took those hats off and put on my mom hat, if I was going to be able to keep my sanity and keep my jobs and keep to all of the things, that I would have to learn how to master my time like a freaking boss. Okay. And not only do you need to master your time, but you need to be intentional with it. You need to be making sure that what you're doing is in alignment with the bigger purpose, the bigger vision, because we all know we can get busy, busy work done, right? So there I was, learning how to schedule everything. I protected those time blocks. I honor those time blocks. I got almost borderline OCD with my time and my calendar, because that's how that structure, right, created the freedom that so many people looked at me and was like, God, I wish I had. So I work with women, who constantly say that they want growth, that they want more happiness, they want more fulfillment, they want more money, they want more expansion or purpose. But when I look at their calendar, the calendar reflects something different. The calendar typically just reflects their corporate job or their work stuff. Their calendar doesn't reflect the things that actually, get them up in the morning. It doesn't reflect what's deeper, meaningful to them. It's got kid stuff on there and it's got work stuff on there. And I'm like, well, where's your stuff? Like, where's your husband and you stuff? Like, what are you doing? You say this is a priority, that you say these are your goals, but I don't see any of that in your calendar, right? You say you want to lose weight, but I don't see where you go to the gym. I don't see where you're food prepping. I don't see when you go to bed. I don't see you, doing meditation or whatever, right? And so, and what I've realized over the years is that so many women are running on like autopilot. It's kind of like sitting in the back seat, trying to drive your life in the direction that you want it to go. When women, you need to get out of the back seat, and some of you out of the trunk, and get into the driver's seat and become the master of your time. Okay. Because every time you abandon your priorities, what you're really doing is you're weakening your self-trust. And we've all heard that saying probably, where it's like if you say yes to something, then you're saying no to something else. And so many women are saying no to what lights them up and what would make them healthy and safe and wealthy and all of the things. And they're just so people pleasing that they're doing everything for everyone else. Okay. Maybe out of fear of what people will think of you, or, this deep seated of, I got to take care of everybody else first before I can take care of myself, right? These are all limiting beliefs that are holding so many women back. So I like to look at my clients' calendars and start to optimize, right? We get very clear on what their priorities are, what their values are, what they need to be actually doing with the time that they have. And then we get very intentional, very micro with like, good, we have an hour block here. What are we doing inside that hour? Literally, let's make a checklist, right? And that is how I've learned how to master my time and ultimately have it all. Like so many people look at my company and they're like, God, you must work, 7 days a week, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hell no, right? I am so over that. I gave that so much, that hustle mentality so much of my life. And that just honestly created burnout and body stress and body problems and autoimmune diseases and all of those things. And I'm telling you, I don't have any of those problems now because I've learned how to master my time. And this is a core problem for a lot of entrepreneurial women who come out of a corporate job, because when you're in corporate, right, you have to show up at the same time, you get to leave at the same time. Yeah, you work your ass off during those hours, but hopefully you're not bringing the work home, but a lot of you are. I get that. But then when we're like, screw it, I'm done. I'm going to go build my business, right? What do? So many women come, they get home and they're like, oh, I'm just going to sleep in today, or I'm just going to do this, or I'm going to, now I'm in charge of my day. And then all of a sudden they're like, so laxy daisy, they're not getting jack shit done until the end of the day, or they're trying to rush around getting too much. Like there's so many issues that women have with time. And until you learn how to master it, you will constantly feel like you are going around, 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 around in circles. Okay. And like I said, every time you abandon your own priorities, you're weakening your self-trust, and then eventually that starts to erode, like oh, I just can't even trust myself to do anything. And then even worse off is your nervous system stops believing you. And that's why sovereign direction matters, because powerful women understand that very deeply. They understand that how you lead your hours is how you lead your life. And this is where women need to stop romanticizing chaos. And overwhelm is not a personality trait. Hustle is not like how much we get done in the day doesn't mean like how much worthy we are, like how worthy we are, right? Burnout is not a badge of honor. And the woman who becomes an iconic leader for her family, for her life, for her career, her business, those are the women who are learning how to command their time, own their energy, own their attention, understand their priorities and standards intentionally. Now, here's the truth that most women will avoid. The life you say you want is going to require structure. And structure is not punishment. Discipline is not punishment. Structure is self-respect. So if this episode really hit a nerve with you, if you are someone who always says that you don't have enough time, first of all, stop saying that. You have plenty of time to get everything that you want done in the perfect divine timing. If you didn't get done to it today, guess what? Just trust that maybe you weren't supposed to get to it today. If you're procrastinating, ask yourself, why am I procrastinating? What am I getting by not doing the thing that I said I really wanted to do? Maybe it's keeping you safe. Maybe it's keeping you in your little bubble. Maybe it's keeping you from hitting that income ceiling that you're so scared to cross, right? Whatever it is, you guys, it all starts with time mastery. Like it's huge. It's huge. You've got to learn how to master your time. Okay. And I just want to kind of, I'm going to share my screen here with you because I truly want you guys to start seeing what a very organized structure calendar could look like. Now, before I do, I want to remind you that I have been working on this for over a decade, right? I am the master of my time. I collapse time. And ultimately, when you do the tool that I teach my clients, it's called the drive method. And we get very specific and we start to optimize their calendar and we optimize their life around the things that are important to them. And once we do that, what happens is what typically would take an entrepreneur or a coach to do in a year, they're doing in 6 months because they're no longer wasting time. time. Does that make sense? They're no longer getting distracted. They're no longer chasing their tail or the bright shiny syndrome, okay? They are literally mastering their time. They're getting so much more shit done. So like I don't work 5 days a week. I don't work weekends. I don't typically work past 5:30. I don't work before, 8 o'clock in the morning. So and if I am working on a weekend, it's either my own event or I'm speaking and therefore I'm getting paid for that time. And then guess what? I have a day off on a Monday or a Tuesday, right? I make up for that. So I'm going to share my screen, but don't be overwhelmed because I have been working on mastering time for, like I said, over a decade. And it's truly an art form. But once you get it, oh my gosh, freedom is like, oh, the handcuffs get broke and you finally feel like you get everything done that you need to get done. So the first thing that I just want to kind of show you a couple of tools that really help me is my calendar, right? This is my calendar, but I want you to just notice what you see, right? Notice what you notice. Everything in pink is typically you're going to start to notice it's all personal stuff, right? I got a hair appointment. I got my fitness hour in the morning. I get beauty hour in the morning. I have what we call my Dream Life Accelerator, which is my spiritual alignment practice. I just want you to kind of notice what you can see is important to me, right? My family time, and I go to bed by 8 o'clock, and because I'm up sitting early. Okay. On Monday or on Sundays, you see I meal prep. I go to church, active recovery in the gym. I sleep in on a Saturday. So I get up around 8 and go to the gym, right? What is important to me, guys, gets put on the calendar. Okay. Fridays, like I said, I don't coach. I don't work on the business. And I work in the business. It's called my CEO business building day. During that day, I also go in and have my lunch with my husband. And so I tell you all of this, you guys, because you have to learn how to master your time. And it goes beyond just time blocking, right? You have to know when you click on this, what it is you're going to do with that time. Okay, be very intentional. The other tool that I use religiously is like my Alpha Queen Collective Planner. Okay, so this is a hardcore planner that we absolutely love, but it's very, very intentional and it lines up perfectly with that calendar I just showed you, right? So like this was yesterday's, this is what I was calling in. These were my business tasks that I had to get done. These are my personal tasks that I needed to get done. These are my habits of success over here. Okay, anything that's ever highlighted or circled as like a thought or an affirmation. I track my body. And then at the end of the day, right, I of course read a Mel Robbins quote. And if I like it, I stick it on. But at the end of the day, I write, oh, look at that. New sign up, right? New client. So it's a win. Like I'm very, very intentional with my time. So when women say they don't have enough time, I'm like, bullshit. Let's actually look at what you're spending your time on because we all have the same amount of time. And yet, how am I able to get stuff done? And you're not. Right. So it's like I don't scroll TV. I don't scroll, or I don't binge watch TV till all hours of the night. I don't scroll social media until my eyeballs are burning. I am very, very intentional, right? I don't look at my emails 20 million times a day. I touch them once and I don't need to touch it again. So I'm very intentional and I'm very strategic though, because my time is also blocked around my energy. So like Mondays is my most energetic day, which is why I write all my copy. I write my content. I do a lot of my video trainings for clients, things like that. I'm very, very energized on a Monday. And then by Friday, I have to have that CEO time because I just don't want to talk to anyone anymore, right? Because I've been talking to everybody all week. So it's very intentional, you guys. And I say this to give you this like insight as to you're chasing freedom. You left your corporate job to pursue your purpose and your passion. And yet so many people are chasing their tail, not really getting ahead. And unfortunately, the stats and the numbers say, about 8 out of 10 coaches will ever hit 6 figures. That means 2 out of 10 coaches will ever even hit 6 figures in their business. Most of those coaches by year 5, they've gone back to their old corporate job or at least another part-time job to try and supplement the income that they're not bringing in. Why? Because they're not intentional with their time. So, if this episode exposed something for you, good. Because awareness creates power, ladies. And inside the Alpha Queen Rising community, we go way deeper into identity-based leadership, embodiment, nervous system regulation, time mastery, business mastery, everything that a woman needs in order for her to truly step up and own her life like a damn boss. Okay. Because sovereign women don't drift into iconic lives, they build them intentionally. And if you are ready, then you know what your next move is. If you are ready to finally get results in your business, within your life, and you're finally ready to step into the highest leadership power that you possibly can be, book a clarity call with me. Like, let's have a 15-minute conversation to kind of talk about where you're at, what your gaps are, and then I will show you where you're probably leaving $100,000, $200,000 of income off the table, or where your biggest mindset blocks are. All right, that are keeping you stuck and in the same loop, in the same patterns, in the same incomes ceiling. So with that, you have the tools. Come over and join our free community. Come over and hop on my calendar and book some time with me. And if you're like, Karissa, like, holy how can I learn more about your company? Just go ahead and go to www.alphaqueencollective.com, and you can learn all about our resources, our training, my new, unapologetic book. You can grab a copy, you can grab the workbook, and you can get to work. All right, ladies? All right, I will see you tomorrow for universal law number 8. There are only 10 laws in this series, and then we may or may not go into how to overcome your fear, because fear is keeping so many women stuck and playing small. We will see. It depends on how many people actually watch these trainings and support me and comment below. How about that? Show me some love, and I'll give you some more additional love on how to overcome your fear. But anyways, I love you, ladies, and I will see you soon. Bye.